What's up, everybody? I'm TJ.
And I'm Kelsey, and we are
the Nashville Wine Duo. Another day, another podcast.
Yay! I'm just happy because I'm eating cheese.
You're always happy when you're eating cheese.
Yeah, it's the Hatch green chili cheese from Trader Joe's.
Is it new?
It's seasonal.
Seasonal, yeah. It comes every once
Right
in a
now
while.
is the Hatch chili season because we got a bunch of Hatch chilies in the other day, like the big bag that comes in every year.
Yeah.
So
I saw that yesterday.
yeah, so right now is the time to buy Hatch chilies. It does have a little bit of a spice, which is nice.
Yeah.
Not overwhelming though.
Just a hint of spice.
Oh wait, I'm just kidding.
So we are freshly back from our vacation in Florida.
Much needed vacation.
It was a little short for me. I need usually, at least a week.
We both talked about it that next time we're gonna do like a solid week.
Yeah.
But I think the best part of it was like we were within like a 2-minute walk from the beach. I mean, not even like a minute.
Yeah. All we do is cross the street.
All we had to do was cross the street. But yeah, I got the place on. So it's the thing, you never know when you get Airbnb. Like, okay, I feel like you like pictures, you can't always tell like if it's gonna be as good as it looks.
Right.
And this was the first time where we got an Airbnb where you could tell it was a company that owned it. It wasn't like a person. So, this company probably has like thousands of Airbnbs like all over 30A, which that 30A is where we went. And if you're not familiar with where 30A is, it's basically like the panhandle of Florida. Like
30A is like a few miles stretch of highway that is along the coast of the panhandle. So it's a really
you basically
popular...
just drive through Alabama and then
it's about 6.5 hours. 6.5 hours from Nashville. Mm-hmm. Very popular. A lot of people from Tennessee go down to 30A. White sand beaches.
Oh yeah.
Clear water for the most part.
Well, there's some seaweed this time, but
yeah.
It was but still, it's not a far drive from Nashville, and you're getting like the full beach experience.
Totally.
But anyway, so it looked good. The place we got, it looked good online, and I was like, okay. The main thing is that it says it's like so close to the water. So we showed up, and it's always kind of like, where is this place? Because it was in like a high rise, and we figured it out. But I thought it was decent for what it was. I mean, we both said like we wish it could have been a little cleaner.
Yes.
There's just some corners and stuff that were a little dirty. And
yeah.
The sand, obviously, because you're right by the beach.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it was a high rise. There was like 10 stories or whatever. Like it wasn't like a Destin, Florida.
No, nothing like that.
So
it's like an old condo complex.
Yeah, definitely like only like 10 stories.
The whole kitchen though was like redone and everything like that, and we had a back had a back area. It was nice for the price. I think both of us just said like, I mean, I paid like $1,000, and the main thing is that you are like right across the street from the beach,
right?
And I'm like, that's totally worth it.
Yeah,
to me,
right.
So.
It was much needed. We had some amazing food when we were there. We went to an oyster bar that we fell in love with. Started following them on Instagram.
Yeah.
Named?
Shunk Gully. Am I pronouncing it right?
You tell me. I think it's Shunk Gully. Gully.
Yeah,
we loved it.
We actually talked to them about doing a podcast too.
Yeah, we're going to do a podcast with them because they were like super cool. Whoever's running their social media was super responsive, and
it's Shunk
Gully.
I think it's supposed to be like shuck, kind of like oyster,
right.
But it's like
Shunk Gully
oyster bar.
Yeah, it's right in Santa Rosa Beach.
Yeah, and if you ever wanted to follow them on social, it's SHUNKGULLEY 30A, and literally it oversees the water.
Yep.
And it was some of the freshest I've ever tasted. The oysters, like, it really was. They blew me
Now
away.
you've had Maryland oysters. You've
Yep.
had oysters
Oh, I've had
from all
oysters
over.
in Florida a lot too
So
before, and
what's the rating on them?
yeah, they were like 10 out of 10.
You said they're better than Maryland.
They were so good. I mean, from where I had it, I haven't had every oyster in Maryland, but
No.
I wish I had. But no, they were just so delicious, and I felt like the market price was really good on them too. It was like $12 for like a half.
Yeah.
So
We
oh, and then the fries. You have to talk about the fries.
oh, they had the best fries ever. Probably the best fries I've ever tasted.
Yeah, explain the fries.
They were just perfectly cooked. They were crispy, and then the seasoning was just stellar, amazing. I am dreaming about them right now.
Yeah, they had that like
Uh,
it was almost like a Old Bay like everything seasoning on them.
and they were thin. They weren't like big, thick steak fries. They were like you could tell they were
Not
fresh.
one of them was soggy.
No, super crisp, seasoned perfectly.
Mhm.
Just the best fries I've ever tasted.
And then we got cocktails that were really good too from there.
Well, we first started off with the Whitehaven Sauvignon Blanc. If you've never had Whitehaven Sauvignon Blanc, is a great Sauvignon Blanc.
Totally.
And so we each got a glass of that, and then we had a cocktail that was really good after that. So
I liked the gin one that you got.
definitely recommend Shunk Gully on 30A.
Right, it's in Santa Rosa, which is where we were. So
we had a great taco place.
oh yeah,
it was Mako Tacos.
I think it was like Mojo or Mojo.
No, it's Mojo's here in Franklin.
Oh yeah,
I think it was like Mako Tacos.
yeah.
Delicious brisket tacos. We had an Italian place that was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So just amazing food, amazing drinks. Of course, we brought wine down to sip on. So we drank Andeval Rosé, the Malbec Rosé, which we love. We drank some Trader Joe's wine.
And then we had a skin contact Sauvignon Blanc that we got from the bottle shop
at McEwen that they had posted about. So we went and grabbed one of those for the trip. So all in all, really good food, really good wine, and the weather was perfect.
Yeah, it was. You had some showers in the morning like usual, and then it just clear skies and
the breeze.
Yeah, and there
mosquitoes.
was some seaweed in the ocean because I think it was just a rough current that had been going on for a while.
It was red flag and then turned to yellow flag.
But TJ actually, so just fact about him, he will not go in the ocean.
I went in the ocean. I stick my feet in the ocean.
That's not going in the ocean.
Yeah, it is. I was in the ocean.
You put your feet in. I'm saying you won't put your physical body in the ocean. Right?
I mean, my feet is part of my physical body.
I'm talking about like your whole, like you wouldn't go in past.
I'm not going past my knees.
Right. Why?
Definitely not past my waist.
What's the reason?
I have no need.
I know, but I want to know the actual reason.
I just like.
It's because you watch Jaws too many times.
I like being in the.
He watches Shark Week a lot. It's sharks.
Like being on the sand and just relaxing.
I know, but explain why.
I just don't like not knowing what's in the water.
Okay, that's underneath. That's what
I've never really been into lakes and oceans and all that kind of stuff, even though I grew up going to lakes.
But if the water was like the clearest ever, you said you'd go in further.
So there are no sharks in there.
Like, there aren't sharks.
There are sharks.
They're not, like, that doesn't happen, though. I mean, it happens.
It
but
happens.
It doesn't happen that much.
Right. It's like
I feel
being struck by lightning. Like, it could happen.
Which barely.
But it does happen. Or your plane going down while you're flying in it. It does happen.
Yeah. So anyway, he won't really go in the water.
It doesn't affect you. People can go do their thing.
I know, and I did. I went out really far. It was fun. But, I'm not going to lie. Like, when you're all the way out there, and I went out far to where I couldn't touch the water at the bottom anymore. And when I was just floating and there was nobody around, I did get this kind of like, what if something took me out? Yeah. And no one could.
Nobody's going to
know. Nobody's going to know. And, like, it was just me and my stepdaughter out there, the youngest one, and she went back to like get her goggles or something, and in the process she lost her sunglasses. She had them on her head, and then she was like, oh, I think I'm gonna find them. I was like, you are not gonna find them. But her and I were like just riding the waves, and when she left, I was like, yeah, I got this feeling of like, man, I'm really out here by myself. And so there is a thing about the ocean that I think it is mysterious, and it's different from like land because we've explored so much, but like the ocean is it's bigger than any land.
And again, you're going into their environment.
Right.
You're in their
It's almost
territory.
like going into a forest, like, blind, like, you can't see anything that's in front of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're engaging into territory that's their home.
Yeah.
Someone came into your home, what would you do? You'd explore it, you'd investigate, you'd check it out.
Yeah.
You might take a nibble.
I only saw little fish. And crabs. We saw crabs. The crabs were the cutest. They're these crabs that, like, they just run really, really, really fast, and their little eyeballs are just, like, sticking straight up.
Yeah.
And at night, you and the girls taught me this, that there's, like, crab hunting.
Yeah. So you go and just kind of shine a flashlight on the water near the sand, and then they're just sitting there. And as soon as they see the light, they just hop back into the water.
Yeah.
Big, small, like
There
all
was
different
families all over
sizes.
the beach, though, with,
Oh
like,
yeah, it's a
flashlights
huge
and,
thing.
like
Buckets.
yeah, and buckets. And, you don't keep them. You just
No,
release them right away.
it's just fun to
But
catch them and
it was fun
see
when
them run.
we were just laying out on the beach one day. We were out there all day, and, like, we looked, and, it was really bright, and we looked to our left, and there was this little crab, and his eyes were just, like, watching us. And then I walked a little over, and he just dove into the sand. But I don't know. Yeah, being there, it's crazy because we went to Colorado and then to there, and I was just thinking, like, how amazing just the world is, like, how different.
Hmm.
It's both so beautiful, but, like, just completely polar
From mountains
opposites,
to oceans,
right?
crazy difference.
It's an amazing
But
world we
both
live
beautiful
in.
places,
Yeah.
but just a drastic difference. So
Yes.
we also were able to interview, and we shot a podcast down there
L.
with Elle from Waterhouse Provisions, who also is co-owner of an awesome wine company called Good Clean Wine.
Yeah. And we did
So
a whole podcast on that, so we won't
yeah,
go too deep into it because we're gonna post that podcast next
yep,
after this one. But definitely tune into that because um I think it was just really information wise so beneficial when it comes to wine and some of the misconceptions around clean wine.
hmm
Um, and hands down, I think this is probably the best wine shop, like, right on 30A.
yeah. It's right in Inlet Beach between Alice Beach
Yeah,
and Seaside.
and Seaside. Yep.
So it's called Waterhouse
And you're gonna
Provisions.
get wines there that you could not find anywhere else.
Yeah, and she said her sweet spot for her wines, she stays in that $20 to $25 a bottle. That's kind of the most popular range that she sells.
Yeah.
But she obviously has stuff cheaper and more expensive than that, though. But yeah, we're gonna post that podcast so you can get more information about an
It
awesome
was
little
so
place
fun
to grab
talking to her
wine.
too. I love
It's so good to
talking.
meet her. I mean,
Yeah.
we followed her for so long, and
Right.
they sent us Good Clean Wine a while back
Well, and
to
when you meet
try. We
people
fell in
that
love with
have,
it.
like, a passion for wine like you do, and also passion in a certain way. Like,
Mhm.
we were talking about how, you know, we don't want to be the winemakers. We want to be the ones to promote and talk about the wine. And she's
Mhm.
like, that's how she feels too. Like, we all have, if you have a passion about something, you might have a different calling in that area, and I think that it's cool to be ambassadors for wine and help the winemakers out. And she's really doing that. Like, she's really helping, get these winemakers out there.
Yes,
So
definitely.
we will post that
Very soon.
very soon.
Very soon.
Yes.
So we are currently drinking an awesome bottle that was given to us from Bounty Bev, which is an awesome distribution company here in Tennessee. And their wine catalog is phenomenal. They deal a lot of vendors who do sustainably farmed, organic, biodynamic wines. That's part of their calling and their catalog. So we are actually drinking an amazing Verdejo from Spain. So if you're not familiar with Verdejo, Kelsey's going to tell you a little bit about what Verdejo is and all of that stuff.
It's pronounced Verdejo.
Really?
So it's an uncommon light-bodied white wine that grows almost exclusively in Spain. This wine is an outstanding alternative to wines like Sauvignon Blanc and Pinot Grigio, and it's with surprising changes in flavors coming with age. We first found out about Verdejo, I believe we were at Amerigo's, right?
Yeah.
No, I think we were. The
Yeah.
wine person there like gave us a bottle to try,
Yeah.
and then we were like, "What the heck?" And that's where we learned about Vermentino too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, this is such a great like alternative to Sauvignon Blanc and Pinot Grigio. It's similar in style. It's super refreshing. Like it's great to have like before a meal, and it's a good food pairing wine as well. Um, Verdejo wines can be made into two distinctive styles. Most often, you'll encounter Verdejo as a ready-to-drink, light and crisp wine with herbaceous notes and fresh fruit flavors,
Mm-hmm.
which I definitely get that. Yeah, you get that fresh fruit on the front, and when you smell it too. And we just had it with this, the hatch chili cheese, and we had a salad with some chili that I made last night, and it went so perfect with it. And we like foods kind of with a little spice, and I feel like this would be so good with anything.
It complements it very
Oh my
well.
gosh, with spicy, it's so good with it.
Yeah. So this is a 2020. The brand label is called Friend and Farmer, and it's made with organic grapes. It is distributed or imported by T. Edward Wines, which is an awesome wine importer. But this is done in Spain in the La Mancha region.
La mancha.
Yeah, and these are from vines that were planted in 2007 through 2012. So the vines are definitely got some age on them, but they press the grapes right after harvest and ferment it in stainless steel tanks, and it sits there about 4 to 6 months. So definitely a lot of flavor. It's light bodied. There's no added sulfites to this wine.
Yeah.
So it is vegan and organic, and obviously it has natural sulfites, but there's no added additional sulfites to it. So, um, yeah, three brothers started this wine label and have carried it on now, and they're making some delicious wine.
Yeah, and the front of it, the label is really cool, and I wonder what inspired it, but it kind of reminds me of like old script from like the 1800s, 1700s. It looks like a like something that was written on like parchment paper to give to like a boat or something like that. Like a captain wrote this in his captain's quarters at a boat, and it's got this like scroll look to it. So it's a very beautiful bottle. When I saw it, I'm like, "Man, it looks very like if you were to take this to a party, I think it would stand out. Like it looks like an expensive, really good bottle of wine. Modern, but like old world at the same time. Um, and it is just so good. Like I was shocked when you told me the price.
Yeah, so this bottle is 14.99. And cool story. This the vineyard, I'm reading it. It sits in a dry riverbed in
Oh,
Spain, and with a gentle slope, it's covered with chalky clay and a fine layer of pebbles on the surface that help radiate the heat of the sun, but is also a key benefit during the desert nights. So
interesting.
all of that help with the flavor and the vines and what the grapes do.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. So uh 12.5%. So it's not like a super high alcohol wine, but it is awesome. And I also pulled some, if you're in Nashville area, I'm sure you can find this in other states, but I know Total Wine carries it. Frugal McDougal carries it. Bud's Liquors and Green Hills carries it. Actually, you can actually get this wine at the Sound Stadium.
Really?
Yeah, Nashville Sounds the baseball team. They carried it at the
Now
Sound
I got a
Stadium.
reason to go watch a baseball
And
game.
the Turnip Truck. So those are some places where you can find this wine.
Friend and
Yeah, we'll post a
farmer.
picture in the podcast and on our Instagram page. So if you don't follow us already, follow us on the Nashville Wine Duo Instagram page, and we're on all these social media sites. So just type in the Nashville Wine Duo and you'll find us. But we'll post a picture of it. Thank you, Bounty Bev, for letting us try this delicious wine. And definitely, if you're around town, grab it.
Yeah, this is one that I will definitely be buying again.
Yes, yes, so good. What else we got going on? We're gonna release that podcast from that we shot with Elle from Waterhouse Provisions coming up. We are going to be interviewing the CEO of John Elway's wine label, Dan. So that podcast is going to be coming up. We're going to be interviewing some Nashville people as far as like a wardrobe stylist from that does all the country music stars. Really cool friend of ours that we met working at Trader Joe's. So she's going to give us the intel on working as a stylist in the music world and what it's like to be working with country music stars in Nashville. So a lot of fun stuff coming up.
Yep. And yeah, if there's something that you would like us to talk about on the podcast, or if you want to reach out, if you have something maybe you want to be on the podcast.
We love to have you on the podcast if you're wanting to be on it. And
Yeah.
so,
Anything if you're especially if you're want to talk about just wine or Nashville or whatever you do that you think people should know about.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. So we appreciate you listening, guys. Please like the podcast, leave good ratings for us. We're trying to grow this thing and get the word out there about it. So please like it, share it, leave good reviews, and tell all your friends to follow us.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
And keep drinking some good wine.
Cheers.
Cheers, baby.
Cheers.